Good morning, freshmen, and happy Monday. I'm excited that today we'll get to start adding fractions that have different denominators. Last week, you got really good at adding and subtracting fractions that had the same denominator. This week, we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators. Let's dive right in. Let's start with an example. 1/2 plus 1/4. Well, if I was going to draw a model of what this would look like, I know that 1/2 is 1 out of 2 pieces. I know that 1/4 is 1 out of 4 pieces. So if I drew a model of 1/2 and 1/4, it would look like this. Some people would add the numerators and the denominators and say that 1/2 plus 1/4 equals 2/6. Well, 2/6 looks like this. That is not the same fraction, so that doesn't work. When I add these two fractions, the first thing I need to do is give them the same denominator. To do that, I'm going to draw a t-chart. Do that on your paper now. And I'm going to put my two fractions into that t-chart. Last week during math intervention, you learned how to find the least common denominator. To do that, I list the multiples of each denominator. Do that now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 4, 8, and I can see that 4 is my least common denominator. After I've found my LCD, I need to change each fraction so that its denominator is the LCD. Remember, to change the fractions, I need to multiply by the same thing on the top and the bottom. We learned that last week in Math Intervention 2. 2 times what is 4? 2 times 2 is 4. So I would need to multiply 1 times 2. That gives me 2/4. 4 times what is 4? 4 times 1 is 4. So I would need to multiply 1 times 1. That gives me 1/4. Now I can add those fractions. What's 2/4 plus 1/4? It's 3/4. Let's look at another example. 1/3 plus 2/5. Well, first, draw your t-chart. I know that I have to find the same denominator to be able to add these fractions. So, I'm going to list my multiples and find the LCD. List your multiples of 3 and 5, and find the smallest number on both lists now. The LCD is 15. When I list my multiples of 3 and 5, the smallest number on both lists is 15. Now I'm going to change my fractions so that their denominator is 15. How do I change 1/3 to give it a denominator of 15? What do I multiply by? I multiply by 5 and by 5. That gives me 5/15. How do I change 2/5 to give it a denominator of 15? I multiply by 3 and by 3. That gives me 6/15. Now, add those two fractions. What's 5/15 plus 6/15? It's 11/15. Sometimes I'll have to add 3 fractions. I'll still need to follow the same steps. First, I'll draw my t-chart and write my fractions in. 1/5, 9/10, 3/4. What should I do now? I should find the least common denominator. List the multiples of 5, 10, and 4, and find the smallest number on all 3 lists. The least common denominator here is 20. Now I've got to change each fraction to an equivalent fraction over 20 by multiplying by the same thing on top and bottom. Let's change 1/5. What do I multiply by? Well, I know 5 times 4 is 20, and 1 times 4 is 4. Now you do 9/10. That would give me 18/20, because 9 times 2 is 18. 10 times 2 is 20. Now let's do 3/4. I would have to multiply by 5 on top and bottom, so I would get 15/20. Now I can add them all together. 4 plus 18 is 22, plus 15 is 37/20. Now, that's an improper fraction. I need to change it into a mixed number. Do that now. Remember, I can change an improper fraction into a mixed number by dividing. 20 goes into 37 one time. 1 times 20 is 20. Subtract, and I get 17. That gives me 1 and 17 over 20. Let's try another one. 2/3 plus 1/6 plus 1/2. What's the least common denominator here? It's 6. Change each fraction so that got the 6 as its denominator. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 3 is 6, so I've got 3/6. When I add those together, I get 8/6. What should I do now? I need to change 8/6 into a mixed number. 6 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. That gives me 1 and 2/6. There's one more thing that I have left to do. I need to simplify. Divided by 2 gives me 1/3. So my final answer is 1 and 1/3. You've done a great job with this video. Go ahead and get started on your practice.